Every single kingdom builder game, we have heroes, we have commanders, we have generals, which we are trying to level up, make them stronger. Because if we have your heroes, or commanders, or generals, I'm talking about every single game. If we have high levels, well, we are good to go. We are getting all the important battles and winning it with the merits or so on, right? In Call of Dragons, we have heroes with the generations, right? It means every single season we have different kind of heroes depending on the season. For example, season one, we have a basic hero such as Nika and Pia, which is Welling. On generation 2 we have Bertrand and so on, right? I have already spoke about the tiers of generation 1 and 2 heroes in my channel, and today it's time for me to speak about generation 3 heroes, which are the latest heroes for every single troop type. Finally, we also have mages, so we're gonna have a different approach to generation 3. Right here we have a tier list, which is S, A, B, and C, and today we are only going to speak about Generation 3 heroes, which is Zaida, Mogro, Urag, Thandalin, Thalia, Danfel, Magrat, and Tobin, right? And of course, for the S tier, we don't really need to like think too much. Everybody knows the strongest hero and strongest hero pair in general. I think not only for Generation 3, but I think in terms of like all heroes, these are like the best heroes, especially for PvP, and plus uh, for a free-to-play friendly players having Magrot because of the availability of increasing levels, only 3 levels on the 3 scales. At first on level 5 you are already good to go, right? Because only on 4th scale we have garrison skill, which we generally don't want. So even for a free-to-play players, Magrot and Zaida have been the number one choice, and I think I have been saying about this hero pair for a long time, because I think if you are just starting the game and you know that something like this will come out, I'm pretty sure you are going to save legendary tokens. Of course, if you are archer player, to plan for the future, and whenever Magrot and Zaida is like online for your KVK or for your season, you are going to put all your legendary tokens here, and trust me, you won't gonna make a mistake, because this is like the best PvP hero pair currently in the game, and I'm really interested if they are going to make something even stronger, because I think it will be super hard, right? The next one, which I have to speak about, like one of the most weakest Generation 3 heroes. Maybe it's weak because people still don't understand how to use it. I would say Mogro is like the weakest hero in the game. I think it's weakest because we don't have the playstyle to use Mogro at all. Like, if you're gonna put Mogro in the infantry hero pair, you will understand that you are not that tanky, right? So basically, Mogro, that's the C plays, which is the last one. I think Mogro will be lonely here in terms of Generation 3 heroes, because I think if we're gonna compare to every single hero in the game, I think Mogro in terms of Generation 3 is really weak. The next one, which is Danfel, which came out, like Mogro and Danfel came out together. I think Danfel is much better, simply because of the one skill which is reducing range attacks damage. That only makes Danfel really better, and plus you can get Danfel from the lucky spins, and for the free-to-play players, that's the hero you can actually get, right? While we are having infantry heroes on Generation 3 on B and C, that's simply because we have Goresh and Skogul, which I think is still the best hero pair for infantry, for war, for PvP, because they are the most tanky, right? Not only they are tanky, they are actually dealing quite a lot of damage, especially for tier 5. That's why I think Generation 3, it was kinda expected that the next heroes after Mogoresh and Skogul would be weaker, and here we are. Donfel and Mogro is weaker than Mogoresh and Skogul. That's my honest opinion. Maybe simply because, Mogro especially is like more damage dealer, like Donfel is more defensive, but the Danfel's defense is not really enough for players to use it more frequently because still Gorish and Skogul is still there. Maybe whenever like more players will awaken them or like more heroes will be available, we will find a way how to use these heroes. But I think still uh, Danfel and Mogro is just a weaker version of really really weaker version of Mogorish and Skogul. The next hero which I want to speak is, well, I think Urag is better than Tobin, and that's why Urag will be on an A tier. The amount of tankiness, well, I really like the cavalry heroes which are giving us this skill talent tree, because I think that's the talent tree where from where you are getting the damage, right? Tobin, well, you can say Tobin and Urag is kind of same. I think, well, if we're gonna compare G3 to G2 heroes, I think Urag and Tobin is much better than Theodore, for example, and Forondil. In terms of like pure, like every single cavalry player said that we are lacking some tankiness for the cavalry, right? That was the main weakness, and I think they like understood that the cavalry was really squishy. If you're gonna get to the melee range of the ranged player, of course you're gonna deal damage, but I'm sorry, that generally doesn't really happen. Urag and Tobin plus army group feature brought us the cavalry gameplay back. I think a lot more cavalry players are playing uh, cavalry, and more players are going to choose to play as a cavalry because finally you are tanky enough to deal damage, and that was the most important weakness of every single cavalry hero pair. I'm not really speaking about like five cavalry march. That's totally different. That's totally different gameplay. I'm speaking about solo gameplay, right? And if we're gonna speak about solo gameplay, Magrot and Zaida is much better than Urag and Tobin, but Urag and Tobin is much better than Danfel and Mogro. That's like my honest overview, right? The next heroes which is actually left for us to speak is the newest heroes, newest mage heroes, which are really interesting, right? Of course, there is still not a lot of time passed since Thandalin and Thalia came. A lot of players expected that this hero pair would get way more damage than they are actually doing, but I think they have different idea, right? For example, Thandalin, of course, can deal damage to multiple targets, but her main idea is to apply debuffs, right? And with these debuffs, it will be easier for your team or for alliance to deal damage. And I think in terms of like PvP, Thandalin is great. Thalia, I'm gonna put Thalia here, right? Like Thalia is not better than Urag if we're gonna compare, but Thalia's main idea is that she's perfect rally hero, right? She's so good in rally, like rallies. Like I have seen the reports for Thalia when she's a rally leader, whenever she's awakened. That's too good, right? And 100k merits, 95k merits, 55k merits. I have seen a lot of merits which she's performing way better in just simply going with the rally than PvP, right? But one good thing about Thalia, I think, is that you can actually build Thalia like you are building Magrat. First three skills on level 5, and if you are a free-to-play player, you won't gonna go for the rally skill, right? That's always great to see. And well, Thandalin, I think Thandalin is great PvP hero, but we should not really miss that Thandalin is not like a damage dealer hero, right? She's more of a control, she's more of a debuffer, and by applying those debuffs, she's getting the damage, right? And of course, Thunder Elegy is kind of important for her to have more debuffs, and through those debuffs, you are actually having an impact on the battlefield. I don't think, in general, Thandal and Thalia is like more PvP heroes. No, they are one of them are control, and second is great major rally hero, right? Of course, we all wanted to have something better than Lilia and Welin. That was the expectations, which I think overall these heroes kind of missed, and that's why I still think that Thandalin has will have more gameplay, and she has more gameplay without Thalia, right? And simply because Thalia is so good in rallies, I think she kind of has to be on a A tier. The lonely place for the infantry heroes, well, unfortunately, Danfel is B tier and Mogro is C tier, right? In general, I think this is the tier list for me for G3 heroes by my own gameplay, by my own overview, simply because I have not missed a single fight in this KVK, in the latest KVK, and I actually can feel, even being as a tier 4 player, even being a free to play player, how much of the difference these heroes actually has in terms of like damage, how much merit they are getting, what's the more survivability. Well, for example, Magrot and Zaida, with my own gameplay, I can say that this is like best archer hero pair which we have currently in the game, and that's like one of the main reasons why I think you can use Magrot and Zaida as an archer. Plus, the beauty of Magrot and Zaida is that you can use Magrot and Zaida with mage troops. Like, for example, with Celestials would be the primary choice because Celestials are having higher damage in general. But even with normal troops, even I have used Magrot and Zaida as with the mage troops, and that's the great part of this hero pair, right? The amount of attack this hero pair is giving you and survivability through the heals is just too much, right? And plus, well, I think even for tier 4 players, you can guys try it out with the mages, it will be fine. Sometimes I have tried as a Zaida primary with PvP talent tree, especially in the open field battles with my mages, and the results were kind of similar to my archers, right? So basically, you can play with this hero pair with the two troop types, and that's the most amazing part of this hero pair. What I think about new archers, I think they won't gonna make the better version of Magrot and Zaida. There is really hard to understand that because Koreshen's Kogul was great and the Danfel and Mogro you can see for me B and C. I'm kinda expecting average archers for the next two archers, and let's see, right? It's really interesting how in general what kind of archers they are going to make. Well, A tier simply Handling is, I think, is great. Urag and cavalry and Tobin brought back the cavalry tankiness, which is really important, and Thalia is just too good to miss, right? For the Danfel and Mogro, unfortunately, that's the only heroes which I think they are weakest in terms of tankiness. Well, they might have more damage in terms of other infantry heroes, but I think in total they are really weaker. Well, for my own gameplay, I need to say one more thing for this video. We are getting really close for being tier 5. I finished level 24 rally drum, and I'm collecting gems in order for me to buy the treaties. And one more thing, we have watchtower which is level 24, and I'm really close for in sentinel arrows to make it 25. And after that, well, you guys know that I have been saving up a lot of speed ups for the building and for the research building researches which will be necessary. So we are getting really close to being free to play player as a tier 5, and I'm really excited, right? Unfortunately, in this KVK's artifact compendium, I'm not gonna like use 30k gems to try the luck of the artifacts, but in terms of that, I'm gonna use my gems to simply buy the treaties and level up the rally drum to 25, so I will have a chance to increase levels for my research building and so on. I'm even finishing the army buildings which are necessary for me to continue progression to tier 5, right? So hopefully, like maximum at the end of the next KVK, I will try my best to be the tier 5, which I don't know, like this couple of 2 KVKs, that's been my main goal, and it's what I have been trying my best to get to tier 5, because every single enemy which I'm getting in every single KVK, they are tier 5, right? So it's time for me to get there, so I will have higher merits and I will be able to make better videos of PvP gameplay, which have been like one of the favorite things about this game, right? I hope you guys liked the video. I hope you guys like the tier list, because that's the tier list which I think I have gathered the information by my own PvP gameplays, by asking a lot of tier 5 players, and I think that's the tier list which I'm gonna use for my own gameplay. If you guys liked the video, press like, subscribe, share. It always gives me more and more motivation to make more. for this game. I wish everybody amazing day, morning, and night wherever you are. We are going to see each other really soon. Bye bye and good luck.